So we left off with Hamlet saying, so you know what, I'm just going to redo this part right here, because it's kind of cool. And I think I didn't do the best delivery on that time, so I'm going to start over again. So, Hamlet is watching an army march. I'm just going to go right in. How all occasions, this is Hamlet saying this, he's my voice, my normal voice. How all occasions do inform against me, and spur my dull revenge. What is a man if his chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and feed? A beast, no more. Sure, he that made us with such large discourse, looking before and after, gave us not the capability and godlike reason to fuss in us unused. Now, whether it be bestial oblivion, or some craven scruple of thinking too precisely on the event, I thought which quartered hath but 1 part wisdom, and ever 3 parts coward. I do not know why, yet I live to say this things to do, sith I have cause and will and strength and means to do't. Examples gross as earth exert me. Witness this army of such mass and charge, led by a delicate and tender prince, whose spirit, with divine ambition puffed, makes mouths at the invisible event, exposing what is mortal and unsure to all that fortune, death, and danger dare, even for an eggshell. Rightly to be great is not to stir without great argument, but greatly to find quarrel in a straw when honor's at the stake. How stand I, then, that have a father killed, a mother stained, excitements of my reason and my blood, and let all sleep, while to my shame I see the imminent death of 20,000 men, that, for a fantasy and trick of fame, go to their graves like beds. Fight for a plot whereon the numbers cannot try the cause, which is not tomb enough and continent to hide the slain. Oh, from this time forth, my thoughts be bloody, or be nothing worth. Now let's go to scene 5. Elsinore, a room in the castle. Enter the queen, Horatio, and a gentleman. Here's the queen. I will not speak with her. Here's the gentleman.
She is importunate, indeed distract. Her mood will needs be pitied.
What would she have?
She speaks much of her father, says she hears there's tricks in the wind, and hems and beats her heart, spurns, envious at straws, speaks things in doubt that carry but half sense. Her speech is nothing. Yet the unshaped use of it doth move the hearers to collection. They aim at it, and botch the words up fit to their own thoughts, which, as her winks and nods and gestures yield them, indeed would make one think there might be thought, though nothing sure, yet much unhappily. 'Twere good she were spoken with, for she may strew dangerous conjectures in ill-breeding minds.
Ah, Bongo, back, helping your mother. Bongo says he is back. How he was helping his mom wind down by cleaning the house at night. Oh, that's nice. How nice. Here, here. Give it up for Bongo, people. All right. The queen now, after hearing the gentleman's reasoning. Let her come in. The gentleman exits. To my sick soul, as sin's true nature is, each toy seems prologue to some great amiss. So full of artless jealousy is guilt, it spills itself in fearing to be spilt. Here's Ophelia. Ophelia will do a slightly higher pitched voice, like, ah, where is the beauteous majesty of Denmark? How now, Ophelia? How should I your true love know from another one? By his cockle-bat and staff, and his sandals shoon. Alas, sweet lady, what imports this song? Say you? Nay, pray you mark. He is dead and gone, lady. He is dead and gone. At his head a grass-green turf, at his heels a stone. Nay, but Ophelia, pray you mark. White his shroud as the mountain snow. Enter King Claudius. Alas, look here, my lord. Larded all with sweet flowers, which bewept to the grave did go, with true love showers.
How do you, pretty lady?
Well, God dild you. They say the owl was a baker's daughter. Lord, we know not. We know what we are, but know not what we may be. God be at your table.
Conceit upon your conceit upon her father.
Pray you, lest have no words of this, but when they ask you what it means, say you this. Tomorrow is St. Valentine's Day, all in the morning bedtime, and I a maid at your window to be your Valentine. Then up he rose and donned his clothes, and duped the chamber door. Let in the maid that out the maid never departed more.
Pretty Ophelia.
Indeed, la, without an oath, I'll make an end on't. By Gis and by Saint Charity, alack and fie for shame, young men will do if they come to't. By cock they are to blame, quoth she, before you tumbled me, you promised me to wed. So would I had done by yonder sun, and thou hast not come to my bed.
How loth has she been thus?
I hope all will be well. We must be patient, but I cannot choose but weep to think they would lay him in the cold ground. My brother shall know of it, and so I thank you for your good counsel. Come, my coach. Good night, ladies. Good night, sweet ladies. Good night, good night, good night.
Follow her close. Give her good watch, I pray you.
The king said that to Horatio. Horatio exits.
This is the poison of deep grief. It springs all from her father's death. Oh, Gertrude, Gertrude, when sorrows come, they come not single spies, but in battalions. First her father slain, next your son gone, and he, most violent author of his own just remove, the people muddied, thick, and unwholesome in their thoughts and whispers, for good Polonius's death. And we have done but greenly in hugger-mugger to inter him. Poor Ophelia, divided from herself and her fair judgment, without the which we are pictures or mere beasts. Last, and as much containing as all these, her brother is in secret come from France, feeds on his wonder, keeps himself in clouds, and wants not buzzers to infect his ear with pestilent speeches of his father's death, wherein necessity of matter beggared, will nothing stick our person to arraign in ear and ear. Oh, my dear Gertrude, this, like to a murdering piece in many places, gives me superfluous death. A noise is heard within. Alack, what noise is this? Where are my Switzers? Let them guard the door.
Enter a gentleman.
What is the matter?
Save yourself, my lord! The ocean, overpeering of his list, eats not the flats with more impetuous haste than young Laertes in a riotous head o'erbears your offices. The rabble call him lord, and, as the world were now but to begin, antiquity forgot, custom not known, the ratifiers and props of every word, they cry, choose we, Laertes shall be king! Caps, hands, and tongues applaud it to the clouds! Laertes shall be king! Laertes shall be king!
How cheerfully on the false trail they cry. Oh, this is counter, you false Danish dogs! A noise within. Here's the king. The doors are broke. Enter Laertes, armed, and Danes following. Okay, I know I gave Laertes kind of a squeaky voice last time. It's been such a while. I think I'll give him a different voice this time. I'll make it like a, hey, sounds like that, kind of rascally, like that. Here's Laertes. Where is this king? Sirs, stand you all without. Here are the Danes are saying this. Stand you all without. Danes, let's come in. I pray you, give me... okay, once again, this is what the Danes said. Okay, Laertes says, where is this king? Sirs, stand you all without. Here are the Danes.
No, let's come in.
I pray you, give me leave.
We will.
They retire without the door. I thank you. Keep the door. O thou vile king, give me my father! Calmly, good Laertes. That drop of blood that's calm proclaims me bastard, cries cuckold to my father, brands the harlot, even here between the chaste, unsmirched brow of my true mother.
What is the cause, Laertes, that thy rebellion looks so giant-like? Let him go, Gertrude. Do not fear our person. There's such divinity doth hedge a king, that treason can but peep to what it would, acts little of his will. Tell me, Laertes, why thou art thus incensed? Let him go, Gertrude. Speak, man.
Where is my father?
Dead.
But not by him.
Let him demand his fill.
How came he dead? I'll not be juggled with. To hell allegiance, vows to the blackest devil, conscience and grace to the profoundest pit. I dare damnation. To this point I stand, that both the worlds I give to negligence, let come what comes. Only I'll be revenged most thoroughly for my father.
Who shall stay you?
My will, not all the world, and for my means I'll husband them so well, they shall go far with little.
Good, Laertes, if you desire to know the certainty of your dear father's death, it's writ in your revenge, that sweepstake. You will draw both friend and foe, winner and loser?
None but his enemies.
Will you know them, then?
To his good friends, thus wide I'll ope my arms, and, like the kind life-rendering pelican, repass them with my blood.
Why, now you speak like a good child, and a true gentleman. That I am guiltless of your father's death, and am most sensibly in grief for it. It shall as level to your judgment peer, as day does to your eye.
The Danes are saying this.
Let her come in!
How now? What noise is that? Re-enter Ophelia, fantastically dressed with straws and flowers. Oh, heat! Dry up my brains. Tears 7 times salt burn out the sense and virtue of mine eye. By heaven, thy madness shall be paid by weight, till our scale turn the beam. O Rose of May, dear maid, kind sister, sweet Ophelia! Oh heavens! It's possible a young maid's wits should be as mortal as an old man's life. Nature is fine in love, and where 'tis find, it sends some precious instance of itself after the thing it loves. Here's Ophelia. They bore him bare-faced on the bier. Hey no, nanny, nanny, hey nanny, and on his grave rained many a tear. Fare you well, my dove. Hast thou thy wits, and didst persuade revenge? It could not move thus. You must sing, down a down, and you call him a downa. Oh, how the wheel becomes it! It is the false steward that stole his master's daughter. This nothing's more than matter. There's rosemary, that's for remembrance. Pray, love, remember. And there is pansies, that's for thoughts. A document in madness. Thoughts and remembrance fitted. There's fennel for you and columbines. There's rue for you, and here's some for me. We may call it herb of grace, oh Sundays. Oh, you must wear your rue with a difference. There's a daisy. I would give you some violets, but they withered all when my father died. Say he made a good end. For bonny sweet Robin is all my joy. Thought and affliction, passion, hell itself, she turns to favor and to prettiness. And will not he come again? And will not he come again? No, no, he is dead. Go to thy deathbed, he never will come again. His beard was as white as snow, all flaxen was his poll. He is gone, and we cast away moan. God have mercy on his soul, and of all Christian souls, I pray God, God be with ye. Do you see this? Oh, God!
Laertes, I must commune with your grief, or you deny me right. Go but apart. Make choice of whom your wisest friends you will, and they shall hear and judge twixt you and me. If by direct or by collateral hand they find us touched, we will our kingdom give, our crown, our life, and all that we call ours, to you in satisfaction. But if not, be you content to lend your patience to us, and we shall jointly labor with your soul to give it due content.
Let this be so. His means of death, his obscure burial. No trophy, sword, nor hatchment o'er his bones. No noble right, nor formal ostentation. Cry to be heard, as 'twere from heaven to earth, that I must call into question.
So you shall. And where the offense is, let the great axe fall. I pray you, go with me.
Scene 6, another room in the castle. Horatio! He talks like this. I am Horatio, so there's Horatio and a servant. What are they that would speak with me? Here's a servant.
Sailors, sir. They say they have letters for you.
Let them come in. I do not know from what part of the world I should be greeted, if not from Lord Hamlet. Here's the first sailor.
God bless you, sir.
Let him bless thee too.
He shall, sir, and please him.
There's a letter for you, sir. It comes from the ambassador that was bound for England. If your name be Horatio, as I am let to know it is. Horatio reads the letter. Horatio, when thou shalt have overlooked this, give these follows some means to the king. They have letters for him. Ere we were 2 days old at sea, a pirate of very warlike appointment gave us chase. Finding ourselves too slow of sail, we put on a compelled valor, and in the grapple I boarded them. On the instant they got clear of our ship, so I alone became their prisoner. They have dealt with me like thieves of mercy, but they knew what they did. I am to do a good turn for them. Let the king have the letters I have sent, and repair thou to me with as much haste as thou wouldest fly death. I have words to speak in thine ear that will make thee dumb. Yet are they much too light for the bore of the matter. These good fellows will bring thee where I am. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern hold their course for England. Of them I have much to tell thee. Farewell. He that thou knowest thine, Hamlet. Come, I will give you way for these your letters, and do it the speedier, that you may direct me to him from whom you brought them. They exit. Scene 7, another room in the castle. Ooh, this is the part where Laertes and the king conspired to murder Hamlet. Oh, that's good stuff. Time to pour myself some more tea. Okay, here we go. Now must your conscience my acquittance seal, and you must put me in your heart for friend. Sith you have heard, and with a knowing ear, that he which hath your noble father slain pursued my life. It well appears. But tell me, why you proceeded not against these feats, so crimeful and so capital in nature, as by your safety, wisdom, all things else, you mainly were stirred up? Oh, for two special reasons, which may to you, perhaps, seem much unsinewed, but yet to me they are strong. The queen, his mother, lives almost by his looks, and for myself, my virtue, or my plague, be it either which, she's so conjunctive to my life and soul, that, as the star moves, not but in his sphere, I could not but by her. The other motive, why to a public count I might not go, is the great love the general gender bear him, who, dipping all his faults in their affection, would like the spring that turneth wood to stone, convert his gyves to graces, so that my arrows, too slightly timbered for so loud a wind, would have reverted to my bow again, and not where I had aimed them. And so have I a noble father lost, a sister driven into desperate terms, whose worth, if praises may go back again, stood challenger on mount of all the age for her perfections. But my revenge will come. Break not your sleeps for that. You must not think that we are made of stuff so flat and dull that we can let our beard be shook with danger, and think it pastime. You shortly shall hear more. I loved your father, and we love ourself, and that, I hope, will teach you to imagine. Enter a messenger. How now? What news? Here's a messenger. Letters, my lord, from Hamlet. This to your majesty, this to the queen. From Hamlet? Who brought them? Sailors, my lord, they say. I saw them not. They were given me by Claudio. He received them of him that brought them. Laertes, you shall hear them. Leave us. The messenger leaves. The king is now reading the letters. High and mighty, you shall know I am set naked on your kingdom. Tomorrow shall I beg leave to see your kingly eyes. When I shall, first asking your pardon thereunto, recount the occasions of my sudden and more strange return. Hamlet. What should this mean? Are all the rest come back? Or is it some abuse and no such thing? Know you the hand? 'Tis Hamlet's character. Naked? And in a postscript here he says, alone. Can you advise me? I am lost in it, my lord. But let him come. It warms the very sickness in my heart, that I shall live and tell him to his teeth, Thou diest thou. If it be so, Laertes, as how should it be so? How otherwise? Will you be ruled by me? Aye, my lord, so you will not o'errule me to a peace. To thine own peace. If he be now returned, as checking at his voyage, and that he means no more to undertake it, I will work him to exploit, now ripe in my device, under the which he shall not choose, but fall. And for his death no wind shall breathe, but even his mother shall uncharge the practice, and call it accident. My lord, I will be ruled, the rather if you could devise it so that I might be the organ.
It falls right. You have been talked of since your travel much, and that in Hamlet's hearing, for a quality wherein they say you shine. Your sum of parts did not together pluck such envy from him as did that one, and that, in my regard, of the unworthiest siege.
What part is that, my lord?
A very riband in the cap of youth, yet needful too, for youth no less becomes the light and careless livery that wears it, than settled age his sables and his weeds, importing health and graveness. 2 months since, here was a gentleman of Normandy. I've seen myself and served against the French, and they can well on horseback, but this gallant had witchcraft in it. He grew unto his seat, and to such wondrous doing brought his horse, as had he been incorpsed and demi-natured with the brave beast. So far he topped my thought, that I, in forgery of shapes and tricks, come short of what he did.
A Norman wast?
A Norman?
Upon my life, layman!
The very same.
I know him well. He is the brooch indeed, and gem of all the nation.
He made confession of you, and gave you such a mastery report for art and exercise in your defense, and for your rapier, most especially, that he cried out, 'twould be a sight indeed if one could match you. The scrimers of their nation he swore had neither motion, guard, nor eye, if you opposed them. Sir, this report of his did Hamlet so envenom with his envy that he could nothing do but wish and beg your sudden coming, or to play with him. Now out of this...
What out of this, my lord?
Laertes, was your father dear to you? Or are you like the painting of a sorrow, a face without a heart?
Why ask you this?
Not that I think you did not love your father, but that I know love is begun by time, and that I see, in passages of proof, time qualifies the spark and fire of it. There lives within the very flame of love a kind of wick or snuff that will abate it, and nothing is as at a like goodness still, for goodness, growing to a pleurisy, dies in his own too much. That we would do, we should do when we would, for this would changes, and hath abatements and delays as many as there are tongues, our hands, and our accidents. And then this should is like a spendthrift sigh that hurts by easing. But to the quick, oh the ulcer, Hamlet comes back. What would you undertake to show yourself your father's son indeed? More than words.
To cut his throat in the church.
No place indeed should murder sanctuarize. Revenge should have no bounds. But, good Laertes, will you do this? Keep close within your chamber. Hamlet returned shall know you are come home. We'll put on those, shall praise your excellence, and set a double varnish on the frame. Double varnish on the frame the Frenchman gave you, bring you in fine together, and wager on your heads. He, being remiss, most generous, and free from all contriving, will not peruse the foils, so that with ease, or with a little shuffling, you may choose a sword unbaited, and in a pass of practice, requite him for your father.
I will do it, and for that purpose, I'll anoint my sword. I bought an unction of a mountebank, so mortal, that dip a knife in't, where it draws blood, no cataplasm so rare, collected from all simples that have virtue under the moon, can save the thing from death. This is but scratched withal. I'll touch my point with this contagion, that if I gall him slightly, it may be death.
Let's further think of this. Weigh what convenience both of times and means may fit us to our shape. If this should fail,
and that our drift look through our bad performance. 'Twere better not assayed. Therefore, this project should have a back or a second. that might hold if this did blast in, that might hold if this did blast in proof. Soft, let me see. Ah, we'll make a solemn wager on your cunnings. Ah, I had. When in your motion you are hot and dry, as make your bouts more violent to that end, and that he calls for drink, I'll have prepared him a chalice for the nonce, whereon but sipping, if he by chance escape your venom stuck, our purpose may hold there. Enter the queen. How now, sweet queen? I need to take a drink. Okay. Here's the queen. One woe doth tread upon another's heel, so fast they follow. Your sister drowned, Laertes. Drowned? Oh, where? There is a willow grows aslant a brook, that shows his hoary leaves in the grassy stream. There, with fantastic garlands, did she make of crow flowers, nettles, daisies, and long purples, that liberal shepherds give a grosser name, but our cold maids do dead men's fingers call them. There, on the pendant bows, her coronet weeds clambering to hang, an envious sliver broke, when down her weedy trophies and herself fell in the weeping brook. Her clothes spread wide and mermaid-like, a while they bore her up, which time she chaunted snatches of old tunes, as one incapable of her own distress, or like a creature native and endued unto that element. But long it could not be, till that her garments, heavy with their drink, pulled the poor wretch from her melodious lay to muddy death. Alas! Then she is drowned? Drowned. Too much of water hast thou, poor Ophelia, and therefore I forbid my tears. But yet it is our trick, nature her custom holds. Let shame say what it will, when these are gone, the woman will be out. Adieu, my lord. I have a speech of fire that fain would blaze, but that this folly doubts it. Exit Laertes. Let's follow, Gertrude. How much I had to do to calm his rage. Now fear I this will give it start again. Therefore let's follow. Act 5, Scene 1, a churchyard. Enter 2 clowns with spades. These are the grave diggers, but in the play, Shakespeare called them clowns. Give me a sec. No. Oopsie. Okay. Let's fix this up here. Be right back. Hold on, folks. Okay, I have returned. So again, 2 clowns with spades. Here we go. Here's the first clown. Is she... Wait, what kind of voice should I give him? Maybe I should give the first clown something like a... Is she to be buried?
Oh, wait, is she to be buried?
No. Oh, shoot. So many voices. And I don't want to do something that really would hurt my voice. So I think I'll give him the voice, the first clown, like, he talks like this. So,
I'll talk like this. He thinks he's all that, but he talks like this.
And the second clown shall be, he'll talk like that. The second clown will talk like that. The first clown will talk, that's a little hard in the voice. Let's go. First clown will talk like,
hello.
Wait, no. First clown, excuse me, will be like, my. I'll talk like this. I'm so great. I can talk like this. Yeah, I'll talk like that. And the second clown will talk like,
the second clown will talk like this. You talk like that.
All right. So here's the first clown. Is she to be buried in Christian burial when she willfully seeks her own salvation?
I tell thee she is, and therefore make her grave straight. The crowner hath sat on her, and finds it Christian burial.
How can that be, unless she drowned herself in her own defense?
Why, 'tis found so.
It must be se offendendo. It cannot be else. For here lies the point. If I drown myself wittingly, it argues an act. And an act hath 3 branches. It is to act, to do, and to perform. Argal, she drowned herself wittingly.
Nay, but hear you, good man Delver.
Give me leave. Here lies the water. Good. Here stands the man. Good. If the man go to this water and drown himself, it is will he nil he goes. Mark you that. But if the water come to him and drown him, he drowns not himself. Argal, he that is not guilty of his own death, shortens not his own life.
But is this law?
Aye, merriest. Crowner's quest law.
Will you have the truth of it? Will ya have the truth on't? If this had not been a gentlewoman, she should have been buried out o' Christian burial.
Why, there thou sayest. And the more pity that great folk should have countenance in this world to drown or hang themselves more than they're even Christian. Come, my spade. There is no ancient gentleman but gardeners, ditchers, and grave makers. They hold up Adam's profession.
Was he a gentleman?
He was the first that ever bore arms.
Why, he had none.
What, art a heathen? How dost thou understand the scripture? The scripture says Adam digged. Could he dig without arms? I'll put another question to thee. If thou answerest me not to the purpose, confess thyself.
Go to.
What is he that builds stronger than either the mansion? What is he that builds stronger than either the mason, the shipwright, or the carpenter?
The gallows maker, for that frame outlives 1,000 tenants.
I like thy wit well in good faith. The gallows does well. But how does it well? It does well to those that do ill. Now thou dost ill to say that. Now thou dost ill to say the gallows is built stronger than the church. Argal, the gallows may do well to thee. To it again. Come.
Who builds stronger than a mason, a shipwreck, or a carpenter?
Aye, tell me that, and unyoke.
Marry, now I can tell.
To it.
Mass, I cannot tell.
Enter Hamlet and Horatio, but from a distance. Cudgel thy brains no more about it, for your dull ass will not mend his pace with beating. And when you are asked this question again, say, a grave maker. The houses he makes last till doomsday. Go, get thee to Jochen, fetch me a stoop of liquor. Exit the second clown. Now the first clown is digging, and sings. In youth, when I did love, methought it was very sweet to contract. Oh, the time for on my behove, oh, methought was nothing meet. Here's Hamlet. Has this fellow no feeling of his business that he sings at grave making? Custom hath made it in him a proper of easiness. 'Tis e'en so. The hand of little employment hath the daintier sense. The hand of little employment hath the daintier sense. But age with his stealing steps hath clawed me in his clutch, and hath shipped me into the land, as if I had never been such. He throws up a skull, the gravedigger, or the clown, more accurately. That skull had a tongue in it, and could sing once. How the knave jawls it to the ground, as if it were Cain's jawbone that did the first murder. This might be the pate of a politician, which this ass now o'er offices, one that would circumvent God, might it not? It might, my lord. Or of a courtier, which could say, Good morrow, sweet lord. How dost thou, good lord? This might be my lord such a one that praised my lord such a one's horse when he meant to beg it. Might it not? Ay, my lord. Why, e'en so. And now my lady worms, chapless, and knocked about the mazard with a sexton's spade. Here's fine revolution, and we had the trick to see it. Did these bones cost no more the breeding but to play at loggets with him? To play at loggets with him? Mine ache to think on it. Here's the first clown again. A pickaxe and a spade, for and a shrouding sheet. Oh, a pit of clay for to be made, for such a guest is meet. The first clown throws up another skull. And there's another. Why may not that be the skull of a lawyer? Where be his quiddits now, his quillets, his cases, his tenures, and his tricks? Why does he suffer this rude knave now to knock him about the scoumps with a dirty shovel, and will not tell him of his actions of battery? This fellow might be in in's time a great buyer of land, with his statutes, his recognizance, his recognizance, his fines, his double vouchers, his recoveries. Is this the fine of his fines and the recovery of his recoveries, to have his fine pate full of fine dirt? Will his vouchers vouch him no more of his purchases, and double ones too, than the length and breadth of a pair of indentures? The very conveyances of his lands will scarcely lie in this box, and must the inheritor himself have no more? Ha! Not a jot more, my lord. Is not parchment made of sheepskin? Ay, my lord, and of calfskin too. They are sheep and calves which seek out assurance in they are sheep and calves which seek out assurance in that. I will speak to this fellow. Whose grave's this, sir? Mine, sir. Oh, a pit of clay for to be made, for such a guest is meet. I think it be thine indeed, for thou liest in it. You lie out on't, sir, and therefore 'tis not yours. For my part, I do not lie in't, yet it is mine. Thou dost lie in't, to be in't, and say it is thine. 'Tis for the dead, not for the quick, therefore thou liest. 'Tis a quick lie, sir. 'Twill away again from me to you. What man dost thou dig it for? No man, sir. What woman, then? For none neither. Who is to be buried in't? One that was a woman, sir, but rest her soul, she is dead. How absolute the knave is! We must speak by the card, or equivocation will undo us. By the Lord, Horatio, these 3 years I have taken note of it. The age is grown so picked that the toe of the peasant comes so near the heel of the courtier he galls his kibe. How long hast thou been a grave maker? Of all the days in the year, I came to it that day that our last king, Hamlet, overcame Fortinbras. How long is that since? Cannot you tell? Every fool can tell that. It was the very day that young Hamlet was born. He that is mad and sent to England. Ay, marry, why was he sent into England? Why, because he was mad. He shall recover his wits there, or if he do not, it's no great matter there. Why? 'Twill not be seen in him there. There the men are as mad as he. How came he mad? Very strangely, they say. How strangely? Faith, even with losing his wits. Upon what ground? Why, here in Denmark. I have been sexton here, man and boy, 30 years. How long will a man lie in the earth ere he rot? Faith, if he be not rotten before he die, as we have many pocky courses nowadays that will scarce hold the laying in, he will last you some 8 year or 9 year. A tanner will last you 9 year. Why he more than another? Why, sir, his hide is so tanned with his trade that he will keep out water a great while, and your water is a sore decayer of your whoreson dead body. Here's a skull now. This skull hath lain in the earth 23 years. Whose was it? A whoreson. Mad fellow's it was. Whose do you think it was? Nay, I not know. Nay, I know not. A pestilence on him for a mad rogue. A poured a flagon of Rhenish on my head once. This same skull, sir, was Yorick's skull. The king's jester. This? Wait, this? E'en that. Let me see. Hamlet takes the skull. Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio. A fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He hath borne me on his back 1,000 times, and now how abhorred in my imagination it is. My gorge rises at it. Here hung those lips that I have kissed, I know not how oft. Where be your jibes now? Your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment, that were wont to set the table on a roar? Not one now, to mock your own grinning? Quite chop-fallen. Now get you to my lady's chamber, and tell her, let her paint an inch thick to this favor she must come. Make her laugh at that. Prithee, Horatio, tell me one thing. What's that, my lord? Dost thou think Alexander looked of this fashion in the earth? E'en so, and smelt so. Pah! Hamlet puts the skull down. E'en so, my lord. To what base uses we may return, Horatio? Why may not imagination trace the noble dust of Alexander till he find it stopping a bunghole? 'Twere to consider curiosity to consider so. No, faith, not a jot. But to follow him thither with modesty enough and likelihood to lead it, as thus Alexander died, Alexander was buried, Alexander returneth into dust. The dust is earth, of earth we make loam, and why of that loam whereto he was converted might they not stop a beer barrel? Imperious Caesar, dead and turned to clay, might stop a hole to keep the wind away. Oh, that earth which kept the world in awe should patch a wall to expel the winter's flaw. But soft, aside. Here comes the king. Enter priest and company in procession, the corpse of Ophelia, Laertes and mourners following, king, queen, their trains, and company. Queen, courtiers. Who is it that they follow? And with such maimed rites, this doth betoken the course they followed did this desperate hand fordo its own life. 'Twas of some estate. Couch we a while, and mark. Hamlet and Horatio retire. Here's Laertes. What ceremony else? That is Laertes, a very noble youth. Mark. What ceremony else? Here's the priest. Her obsequies, I don't know that word, I'm sorry, have been as far enlarged as we have warranties. Her death was doubtful, and but that great command o'ersways the order, she should in ground unsanctified have lodged till the last trumpet. For charitable prayers, shards, flints, and pebbles should be thrown on her. Yet here she is allowed her virgin rites, her maiden instruments, and the bringing home of bell and burial. Must there no more be done? No more be done. We should profane the service of the dead to sing age requiem and such rest to her as to peace parted souls. Lay her in the earth, and from her fair and unpolluted flesh may violets spring. I tell thee, churlish priest, a ministering angel shall my sister be when thou liest howling. What? This is Hamlet. The fair Ophelia? Here's the queen, scattering flowers. Sweets to the sweet, farewell. I hoped thou shouldst have been my Hamlet's wife. I thought thy bride bed to have decked, sweet maid, and not have strewed thy grave. O treble woe, fall 10 times treble on that cursed head, whose wicked deed thy most ingenious sense deprived thee of. Hold off the earth awhile, till I have caught her once more in mine arms. Laertes leaps into the grave, and holding Ophelia. Now pile your dust upon the quick and dead, till of this flat a mountain you have made, to o'ertop old Pelion, o'er the skyish head of blue Olympus. Hamlet, advancing forward. What is he whose grief bears such an emphasis, whose phrase of sorrow conjures the wandering stars, and makes them stand like wonder-wounded hearers? This is I, Hamlet the Dame. Hamlet leaps into the grave. Laertes grappling with Hamlet. The devil take thy soul! Thou prayest not well, I prithee thee, take thy fingers from my throat. For though I am not splenitive and rash, yet have I in me something dangerous, which let thy wiseness fear. Away thy hand! Here's the king.
Pluck them asunder.
Hamlet! Hamlet! All, gentlemen! Everyone's saying, gentlemen! Good my lord, be quiet! The attendants part them, and they come out of the grave. Why, I will fight with him upon this theme until my eyelids will no longer wag. Oh, my son, what theme? I loved Ophelia. 40,000 brothers could not, with all their quantity of love, make up my sum. What wilt thou do for her? What wilt thou do for her?
Oh, he is mad, Laertes.
For love of God, forbear him. Swoons! Show me what thou'lt do. Would weep? Would fight? Would fast? Would tear thyself? Would drink up Isel? Eat a crocodile? I'll do it! Dost thou come here to whine, to outface me with leaping in her grave, be buried quick with her, and so will I! And if thou prate of mountains, let them throw millions of acres on us, till our ground, singeing his pate against the burning zone, make Ossa like a wart. Nay, and thou till mouth, I'll rant as well as thou. This is mere madness, and thus a while the filt will work on him, anon as patient as the female dove. When that her golden couplets are disclosed, his silence will sit drooping. Hear you, sir? What is the reason that you use me thus? I loved you ever. But it is no matter. Let Hercules himself do what he may. The cat will mew, and dog will have his day. Hamlet exits.
I pray thee, good Horatio,
Wait upon him. Horatio exits. Excuse me. The king is saying this to Laertes.
strengthen your patience in our last night's speech. We'll put the matter to the present push. Good Gertrude, set some watch over your son. This grave shall have a living monument. An hour of quiet shortly shall we see. Till then, in patience our proceeding be.
Scene 2, a hall in the castle. We'll stop right here with Hamlet.